Oh, how do you? We are ready to go. Where we're going, you'll just have to see. I think it's going to be delightful. How is everyone doing this evening? Oh, to ya. However many, it don't matter. Grab a little bit of alizarin crimson, just sneak that on in there. We'll grab an incy weensy a little bit more. Weensy weensy little bit of purple, like dioxazine purple, like an actual purple. We're just gonna bring that in here and mix it in. There we go. It's a nice subtle color change. I like that. Sneaks a faint color bit right in there. Just a guideline. I'll sneak that in right there though. I think we need some clouds, and I also think we're going to need perhaps a moon today. Yes, definitely a moon and some fluffy little clouds hanging out in our sky today. So, last couple paintings I didn't even have any clouds. They didn't really have a sky to speak of either, but I'm gonna throw some clouds up in our sky today. We'll start with that. Get our 1-inch oval brush just so we can start blending that out with little circles. We're just gonna bring it up and over. And we're going to grab our handy dandy little palette knife. Take a little bit of the sky colors and we're just going to almost like we're making land. We're just going to kind of come in here, up underneath, and just scrape in a little bit of a shadow underneath our cloud. And just kind of blend some of that into blend it into our sky like so. I'm going to do that a couple more times. We're going to throw some mountains in here too, so we're not going to get too crazy with our clouds. We just want them to exist. hang out in our sky today. Fluff these ones up as well. We're going to take our same little palette knife. We're going to come up under this one too. Don't want it to get left out. Let's see, there it goes. Well, that's rude. Get out of there. Oof, there it goes. Alright, and maybe we have at least one cloud that's just a little bit bigger. Kind of, he comes kind of, starts over here. He's gonna grow though. Comes this way. Something about like so. And we're going to drop more tools of hair in play. There we go. There. And we're going to blend out this cloud as well. We'll add a couple cirrus clouds. Probably after this one, we'll get our moon in there and we'll move on to our mountains. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Isn't that what they say? Although, I don't know. If you're making homemade lemonade, I think there is some work involved with that. Everything involves at least a little bit of work, though. Maybe for some people, lemonade is easy. I'm just not one of those people. Add just a touch more titanium white to that cloud, just to kind of brighten up some little areas right here. Here and there. About like so. Brush the darkness off my 1-inch oval. Happy little clouds, absolutely happy little clouds. They're very happy. They're just floating around, having a good old time. I think it would be nice to be a cloud. Nothing much to do except figure out whether or not we've got the necessary bits to rain, I guess, or snow. Fluff them up a little bit. It'll be right as rain. Well, there's no rain in our sketch yet, though. No rain out there today. Throw out a couple little cirrus clouds in there. Just with a palette knife, kind of come in here. And just pop those into existence. This is just the same couple colors, the blue, red, and purple that I threw into my sky. It's just looking a little bit darker. I'm using the palette knife to put them in there instead of something like a 2-inch brush. And then when we kind of blend them out, and look at that, they start glowing and changing. Fantastic, really. And make that one grow even farther. Beautiful. Why paint with gloves doesn't work? The gloves is just to help keep the paint off my hands, really. Because I am a notoriously messy painter, which means if I don't wear gloves, all of the paint that's on my gloves is on my hands. So I make it work. It's a choice I make. You don't necessarily have to make the same one, but perhaps you don't have the same bad habits I do. Which would honestly be for the best. So. That's all. Nothing too crazy. I'm going to put a little moon out there and we're going to say he lives kind of right here. Just a little fella right there. Grab our little mop brush, soften it out. Excelente, gracias. We're going to soften that moon. It's twilight. You're not going to be able to see the whole moon in all its glory. Not yet. So, mountains would be next. Delightful as they are, they need some shadow color. So, we're gonna come up here, maybe way up here. And we're just gonna bring them down this way, that way, this way. And we'll take the 2-inch brush and we'll kind of get these guys squared away in a little bit. This is just the initial shape. That kind of shows me where they're gonna live. I have a general idea, but you never really know what mountain is truly going to look like until you go ahead and put it on out there. There will be happy trees there, Dustin. Don't you worry. We will have trees today. We have trees most days. I've actually been doing a lot of tree paintings lately. If you're following my TikTok, you can probably see a couple of neat little forest scenes that I did between Saturday and Sunday. So, before we get carried away, we're going to take a good old 2-inch brush. We're just going to make some decisions with this here little initial mountain about where these shapes are really going to kind of start coming together. Soften them out, remove that extra paint. Important things. This one grew a little on me, that's alright. That is alright. That just means I didn't know how tall that mountain really was. Ain't nothing wrong with that. And sometimes you discover these things as you go. My cats must have gotten down here with a stray little cat fur in there. That's alright. It is all gone now. Catch up our edges as we go. And we're going to throw some highlights on this mountain. Then we're going to worry about the next little peak we're going to throw in there. So, should probably grab good old palette knife. One, or mostly clean would be preferable. Let's see, take our shadow color, take some titanium white. It's going to be mostly titanium white if I'm being honest. I just need to weensy little bit of color. Oh, gotta watch this for the mountains. Well, there you go. Thank you. Appreciate it. So, with our palette knife, we're just gonna kind of come in here. A little wiggling on the knife on the way down. And just kind of, the paint that comes off is just gonna stick. And it should be, well, it should be just that simple. We're gonna come over to this side now. Same thing, just kind of touch and a little wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Right about like that. I'll even give this one like a little bit of, just a little something, something. Bring those together. And I did kind of just put the teeniest, tiniest bit of my shadow color into my titanium white. So not every highlight is going to be like perfectly white, and that's exactly what I want. Just a little bit of color in my mountains today. In their highlights anyway. And we're just gonna go ahead and let that live right there. And we're gonna take this slightly darker color and pop it on the backside. Easy peasy. We'll start kind of over here. We'll do the same thing. Just kind of. There's not a ton of difference in this color that you might be able to really tell on the camera, but it is a slightly darker color. It should be just enough to kind of create a nice distinction. We can always make it a touch darker though. Especially where we're coming into over here and we're a little bit farther away from that light source. This would probably be a little bit darker anyway. That peak's not hardly getting any light, as is intended. And we'll just kind of come in here, just a little. Throw those in there. Like so. Easy peasy. I still don't really understand why it's easy peasy lemon squeezy, but I digress. We're not questioning old saying semantics. We're just gonna tippy tap on the bottoms of these, making sure we stick with our angles. And just soften up these sort of edges just a little bit. We're going to do another mountain, and we're going to kind of get into some grassy bits, and we're going to move on to our trees. But I want one more little mountainous peak to kind of live over here. This one's going to be a little taller. I'm going to come in here right in front of this guy. This down. This one's gonna come this way. just a little bit this way. There we go. There's the shadow for our final mountain. Don't worry about how far down the painting is. We're not really worried about that right now. We have other things we are concerning ourselves with at the moment. Namely, highlights. Since our shadow color, same as that one, is over here. We're just going to start with the shadow color this time since it's, well, it's right here. I dipped into the paint for shadows first, so there we go. No huge reason. It just happens to be the color I put on my mountain tool here. So we're just touching and dragging, wiggling it down. I don't need to come all the way down here because I'm not really going to put the mountain all the way down there anyway. So, I'm not worried about it. We'll take some of that over here. Alrighty, let's go grab that highlight color again, which is the more white color. It's just very lightly tinted with our shadow color. It's mostly white. I don't even know if it's 2% color. It's really just a hint. So, I'm just going to let the paint fall off where it's going to fall off. The canvas knows what it wants. It'll take it. Little by little. Alrighty, and the same thing, we're going to kind of tap, come in here, and just follow those angles. Just softening up the bottom a little bit. Those do tend to be a little bit more distinct the top than they are at the bottom. That's all we're really doing. We're just adding some softness to the bottom. So, I'm going to come in with good old Mr. Fan Brush. We're going to put some little grassy bits. Hola. Hola. Yes, hello. So, grab a little bit of the blue color, a little bit of phthalo green. Should probably grab a little bit of white. I want it to be more of a green color. We're getting into the more colory bits of our scene, where you can really start seeing some color. So we're just going to come in here, just with the fan brush, we're just going to tap in. I know the start of some grass coming up, meeting our mountains. And then we'll take our fan brush, not our fan brush, our 1-inch brush to these as we go. Just so we can kind of turn them into like little baby trees or little grassy bits, just with that tiniest bit more detail from just brushing them up ever so slightly. And these bottom ones we're going to bring sideways. I'm going to bring it right in to the bottom of our mountain. We're going to blend it in right there. We're gonna grab a little bit more of that color and we're gonna do it again. And then who knows, maybe there's gonna be a river or a pathway. I haven't really decided if I want a river or a pathway yet. So we'll make that decision soon enough. We'll have some trees and, well, it'll just be delightful. We'll bring it over here too. We're gonna have to have something behind the stuff that comes in front. About like that. We're gonna do the same thing. We're just gonna bring it up just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a cool, in my mind, it's a cool evening. Maybe a delightful evening if you've got the ability to have a fire pit, sit by the fire, roast some marshmallows. I don't always have time to do that, but it is delightful. And I think this would be a perfect evening for it. Maybe you're out camping and you're just over here looking for the perfect marshmallow for toasting. Just about. Just about like that. I think river sounds about right. Why don't we pop in kind of the starting bits of our river and then we'll work on adding some trees. We're just going to grab some regular old titanium white. And I think our river is going to start right about over here. I'm going to pull that down, let it grow as I get closer, closer. And I added a very faint, like purpley color down here, so this white is going to mix with that color. We're going to bring it forward. And just kind of more defined shape in there. And then look at that. We're just going to come in here, straight down, straight down, straight down. For now. Very important because then, well, this river is purple. And that is okay. It's going to be smooth when we come across it. And I think I'm going to do my trees on the right side first and then ones on the left side second. So that's what we're going to do. So as soon as I clean my 1-inch brush anyway, it'll be fantastic. So un momento, won't take but a second. And you guys can drop a hi and let me know how your day is going so far. I do hope you guys are enjoying your evening. Oh, hello, Mr. Frog. And yeah, we're doing good things today. So, why don't we go ahead and pop in some shadowy bits for our most delightful little coniferous tree. And since I know the river is going to be about over here, we're going to start right here. I'm going to come down, kind of put in that little line there, because I know I need somewhere for it to follow. I'm going to tap in, making sure we've got some dark spots. I'm going to come on up. And this is where you guys are just going to have to, little bit of trust, okay? I'm going to come up here. Up here. Don't worry, we're not covering everything, but we do need to cover a little bit. We'll put some highlights on there. This is going to be a delightful tree. Plus, it's our only coniferous tree. We gotta show them some love. I'm gonna put that up there. Boop. We'll get some highlights on them. It will be a delightful delightful scene. Okay? Okay. You don't have to believe me, but if you stick around, you'll see. So grab some oil, get out my green, my blue. So I think I want kind of a light green highlight, but it's just a little blue. Needs enough paint to stick, but not so much that it's all runny and impossible. So let's see if I went ahead and thinned this out enough. It's going to be thin enough and light enough. And I don't think it's light enough, but I think it's thin enough. So we're just going to lighten it up a little bit more. We're just going to come back and try again. There's nothing saying we can't. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to tap right into our paint pile. We want nothing smooth. We want texture. There we go. Little Z's, back and forth, back and forth. Even grab a little bit more lightness. Just a little bit. Just a When we lose enough paint off the brush, we can kind of come in here and add some slightly less bright highlights off the back side. So left and right and left. But that'll kind of keep those highlights a little further away from the light source, a bit more shadowy and mysterious. And I think it adds a nice effect, really. So, come back and forth. We'll add some water highlights, you know, some little bits in there after, but this guy's got to come in here first. It's just the order of things. Like I said, we're running out of paint. We're just going to add some of these little highlights off the back. Maybe these ones here are a little bit more distinct. So we're going to do that. We're going to grab a little bit of thinner white. Just a little bit of linseed oil and white. There might be a touch of my green color in there. Just going to sneak in a little land. A little land for these guys to love. That becomes a little bit of a shadowy highlight, or reflection is the technically correct word. We should probably add some branches, I think, before we get too far gone here. A little bit of branchy business, a little bit of white, a little bit of linseed oil. Nothing too crazy. Just mixing up my bippity-boppity-boo liquid white kind of as I go, mostly because my actual liquid white is very much frozen. Well, as frozen as it can get. It never actually goes fully frozen, but, well, it's about like icing right now, so it's not very liquidy. So, easy enough to get stuff done though. So, we're going to come in here. Same thing. We're just grabbing that thinner white paint on our liner brush and we're just putting in some branches. Easy, easy, easy. Here. Liquid white ends up being about, oh, probably like ink or something. What brush is that? This is a liner brush. Mine's a little bit beat up, but I can still get it to come to a nice point by kind of rolling it into the paint and kind of twirling it. So this one is a liner brush. Looking great, thank you, Hammy. When I paint details, sometimes I rest my hand on it and smudge it. I try to rest my arm on my arm. So like one arm's kind of on the bottom bit of my easel, and then the other one is kind of, well, my other arm rests on my other arm. Kind of make do with what I've got. So, but this one's the liner brush. It's just been around a while. Gosh, it's so covered in paint I couldn't even tell you what brand it is anymore. It certainly has been around. Probably had this brush for, it's gotta be close to a year. It's gotta be. Something about like that anyway. Put these branches in just here and there. This one kind of lives over there. They're not all going to be the same brightness, the same shape. Well, heck, they're not going to be the same anything. Other than they all kind of live off the same tree. Same little area. That's all they have in common, but that's all right. That's all right. Out of the shadows, and you got some sticks. I'll even sneak in a couple up there. In fact, I think we really should put a few more up there. We'll kind of put that one up like that. We'll let this one sneak in up there. Just like that. Yeah, how about that? We've got our little coniferous tree on scene. So, we're going to start adding in some more pine trees now. So I'm going to get a different fan brush than the one I used to do with my clouds, just to kind of put some kind of over here, just a couple little faraway ones. I'll use my, it's not a huge fan brush, but it is a natural bristle one. So we'll use that one for my slightly closer pine trees, and we'll have one big one right in the front here. But we're going to start with just a couple little kind of pine trees that are just a little far away. Maybe they're just, I might throw some light highlights on them, but they're going to start out as just little shadows. So, little shadows is how they will start. But they probably won't stay that way. So why don't we make, let's see, I'm going to put one, probably about right there. And then we're just going to come left and right. And just, there it is. It was right there. I think there's another one that's right there. I'll flip my brush over. This is just a, I believe this is just a synthetic multimedia fan brush, so it's got soft bristles. You're going to get some different shapes with these when you're making your trees, but for these ones that just kind of hang out in the background here, they do a fantastic job. So that's what we're doing. We're just kind of putting them out there. This one's going to be a little bit bigger. Watch. It's going to come right there. And same thing, just tiniest bit of your fan brush, like the corner of your edge, just a little bit. Left and right, right and left. I might even come back and texture this guy and add some highlights. I think he's close enough. I think he gets some highlights. The others might too. We'll see. We're not fully committed to whether or not he's going to get highlights. All I know right now is this is where he lives. So is that a new question? Great, no, same one. So, come over here. There were some grassy bits out here. This is really the same color as the stuff from earlier. There we go. I think that looks delightful. We'll grab our little palette knife here. And we're just going to come in here. Just the faintest of faint indication of a waterline there. There we go. Find our little soft blending brush, which for me is a mixed media mop brush. It does a delightfully fantastic job of softening up these edges. I think so anyway. So, come back with our natural bristle fan brush, add some texture to that slightly closer tree right there. And then we're going to add our big tree, the closest tree in this painting. I made it. Well, hello, Miss Mel. Hello, hello. Welcome. We are painting a delightful little mountain scene today. There we go, just add some texture here. We'll come back and highlight this guy in a little bit. So, just get a little bit of shadow. There we go. Alright, so gotta make a big tree. This guy's gotta be like the closest thing to us. He comes all the way down. Even though it doesn't go top to bottom of the canvas, the fact that the bottom goes to the bottom will be nice and close. So we'll kind of alrighty. So, starting small at the top, little bits, corner of the brush. I want to make sure this tree just has a ton of texture, so when we come with the highlight color, there's stuff for it to stick to. I'm just kind of keeping that texture close to itself at the top, and then it'll grow as we come further down the tree. I don't know exactly what he's going to look like, but that's okay. I'll find out. Watch him grow into a mighty pine tree. So pretty, thank you. I would have to agree, but I'm a little biased, if I'm being honest. I think a lot of the things I paint are really pretty. And we're gonna have to come in front of our friend back here, our little tree that we just put in here, just a little bit though. That's why we didn't want to put any highlights on him just yet, because I didn't really know how much would be seen. So we don't want to cover up all of him, but well, he's back there. And this one's just a little bit closer. That's all right. So maybe we've got some exposed trunk back here. I want to make sure this stays pretty dark though. Pretty darn dark. I'll probably even put some bushes right out here too. I think it's about right. Have a few little bushy bits at the base of this tree. Go grab a 1-inch brush. We'll do just that. I think we've got look at that. We've got bushes that live down here. We do. And I think they come, well, they'll probably come out to about there. About like so. Just touching up the edges there. So, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So. Anyway, this guy has the most mighty of face. Alrighty, and we're just gonna take this, bring that faint color on over. Don't worry about the bushes, I know I smudged them. But look. No, I didn't. How about that? Ta-da! Why don't we go get highlights on these guys? Gotta clean off my fan brush. Tap into that same color from before, kind of a bluish green. Beneath pink tinged clouds. Keep up the great work. Thank you. So soft and beautiful. Thank you. And yes, Frog McFrog, it's a great time to start dropping title suggestions. So if you're new here, we pick titles for painting. Oh gosh, I think we're on 130. That's a fantastic, that sounds so nice. Anyway, painting 130. So it is always going to be painting 130, but we get to pick a name together. So drop your name suggestions into the comment section, and then I will pick one at random at the end. And we get to just name it together, and it's fun. It's a good time. Alright. Go grab a little bit more of that highlight color. We're going to highlight our big tree here. Well, I suppose I should put just a little bit. How about, we got some exposed trunk here. Why don't we just kind of using a bluish purpley colors today, so we're not going to add a ton of color to him. Just a little bit of a tinted white color. Kind of like the branchy colors of our coniferous tree over there. There we go. Just some exposed trunk here and there. And what the heck, I think these guys have some trunk. They just don't have a ton of color, that's all. They're just a little too far away to be too distinct. Okay, that's it. Nothing against them. It's not their fault they're far away. It's just where they happen to be right now. Alrighty, I think we're about ready to highlight this tree now. Celestial brushstrokes above the summit. Ooh, pretty. At Katie.Alexa. Bye. Oh, bye-bye. Morning moon, ethereal echoes in a pastel sky, dark blue forest. What size is that? If we're talking about the canvas, it's a 12 by 16 today. So, it is a 12 by 16 canvas today. Sometimes it's a sometimes it's a 16 by 20. But I do sometimes enjoy painting like these little smaller canvases. So, it's a 12 by 16 today. Horizontal in orientation. And we're just tapping in with just a little bit of the corner of this here fan brush. Little touches. It doesn't take much to paint because it's textured. Make sure that there was texture when I was putting down my shadow color. It should be just like the coniferous tree and the mountains. The canvas and the tree will take what it wants and leave the rest on the brush. So you shouldn't really hardly need to push or put any real amount of pressure besides just tapping a little bit. Should be pretty simple. Happy Little Tree. That would be a delightful little title. Happy Little Tree. They are happy trees. They are all very happy. I think so anyway. I mean, how can you be unhappy when you're living in a mountain valley? The sunsets and sunrises and all the scenes you see are just drop dead gorgeous. Oh, and I swear you can smell it in the air. Ah, delightful. I used to live in a mountain valley. I miss it. I don't live there anymore, but I think about it when I paint these scenes. What it might look like on a nice, cool, crisp morning. And this is where we're kind of getting into our little bushy bits here. So we're not going to highlight with our fan brush. I suppose we could, but well, heck. That's not going to give us the effect that we want. I see this painting. I expect Bob Ross to show up. Oh, thank you. That's very sweet of you. I wish, honestly. I wish. No such luck, I'm afraid, but gosh, I wish I could have met him. I really do. So we're still looking for title suggestions though. The painting, fairly confident, 130. I can double check yesterday's painting if I really need to, but I'd be willing to bet money that this is painting 130. I'm not going to do that because, well, I don't have money to throw around, but I'll double check myself before too long, or someone will tell me. I got a couple people that are really good about telling me what I'm doing. So, I'm going to grab our liner brush again. We're going to put some little sticky bits into this here brush, or bush, excuse me. 130, 420, 125. See, I told you guys I got people good at telling me what I'm doing. Couple little sticks here and there. Easy, easy. Just out of the shadows. Here and there. You can put as many or as few as you want. Some of these sticks are going to be a little bit darker. Some of them are going to be a little bit brighter. It really just depends how much of the white is on the brush and how much paint they're kind of mixing with down at the bottom. That one was nice and bright. That one too, oh, delightful. Yeah, this one's going to grow kind of like so. There we go. Couple little longer ones because, well, heck, why not? Why not? I don't have a good reason, so. Alright, just gonna grab a little bit of good old titanium white. And if you were here earlier, you might have realized that I was just gonna come back a little bit later and just kind of add a couple little highlighty bits just here and there. Nothing too crazy though. You don't need a whole lot. Not really. A little goes a long way. Yes, it does. I don't know, I'm thinking it's going to be about time to sign my name. Blend away that. Although I do kind of love that actually. I do actually. Holy cow. Because look, watch this. We're going to add a highlight right over that. And it's going to be even more pronounced. So, we're going to come in here. Brighten it up. Actually kind of works. We're a bit further away from our little light source here. So, I think it makes sense. I do. Clean up our blendy brush, it'll take but 2 seconds. So. Nothing but a moment. And if we lose a couple sticks, we'll put a couple sticks back. But I don't think we're going to lose them. I don't. I'm going to grab some liquid white. And we're just going to brighten that up just a hair more. Good old fan brush is perfect for that. Let's see a little bit of titanium white. that brightness. Brush off the shadow. I can do this because the paint is still wet. If it was dry, well gosh, this would be a hassle and a half. But it's not. Wet on wet. So coming back in here and dropping in a couple little highlights into our water. Wow. You just gotta roll with it. You never know what's gonna happen in a painting, so you gotta just go with the flow. Just like so. We'll just come back in. We're going to drop those sticks back. Easy, easy, easy. So this little guy got a little shorter, so did this one. Well, anyway, I'm going to sign my name. Gonna drop my initials on there. Oh, initials, initials. I need a place to put them. I'm going to sneak them in right here. Oh, I thank you. Alrighty. So that would be my initials there. That's good English. Alrighty. I'm gonna grab my Sharpie. Here it is. I found it. I've got paint in my elbow. And we are going to name a painting. Okay? Okay. Pretty simple here. This is what we're gonna do. I'm going to put the important information on first. My signature, the date, the number, and then when we're done with that, well, I'm going to randomly select a title from the comment section. I'm going to scroll to a little before they start, and then, well, I'm just going to kind of go whoop and stop. Eyes closed and everything. Wherever I happen to land is where, well, that's the title that it's going to be. So if you haven't put your titles suggestion into the comments, there's still time. There is not a ton of time, but there is still time. So and Miss Mel, you had the date down here. If you just want to pop that in there one more time for me, please. 4/21. Actually, see it. I'll put the date over here. It's the 21st, day after Easter. Number 130. Alright, I hope you guys put your title suggestions in the comments, because now we gotta pick one. You'll be happy. Thank you. So way up here towards the top. I think Mr. Frog was the first one to put a title down into the comment section, so we're just going to make sure I go before that. What was that? I lost it. Well, happy scrolly fingers, ethereal echoes, and a pastel sky. Mr. Frog, that sounds beautiful. Mr. Frog's title has been selected. How I got it right? I'm gonna write it out. It's a small poem right there. Ethereal echoes. In a pastel sky. Beautiful. At some point I'm gonna have to replace my Sharpie though. It's getting a bit dull. Alright, and we'll show you guys the pretty side again. How about that? Since I don't know about you, I much prefer the side with the pretty mountains on it as opposed to the side with all the numbers and letters. So, how about that? Sneak that back in here. Boop, boop. Boom. There it is. Small clap. Thank you. Yay. Why are we small clapping? It's fantastic. So, thank you everyone for hanging out this evening. We are getting ready to wrap up for the evening. I got some brushes to clean. Necessary. Not the most fun part of it. I much prefer the painting part as opposed to the cleaning up afterwards part, but you're more than welcome to hang out for a few more minutes whilst I do that. Otherwise, I will be back again tomorrow, 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. Fun as always. Thank you. Big applause. There you go. And you're more than welcome to check out my Etsy store. This painting is going to be going up on there just after the live. I've got a bunch of other stuff on there already. The cleaning up is never the fun part. Yeah, it's necessary though. Otherwise it's a headache tomorrow, and well, tomorrow me wouldn't appreciate today me being all sorts of lazy. So what is the price? This one would be listed for $100. Etsy has to figure shipping, so I wouldn't be able to figure out that piece for it, but it will be listed for $100, and then there's just the shipping cost of that. So, but yeah, like I said, it's going to be up on my Etsy store. Probably, usually just a few minutes after the live ends is when that goes. I'm working on getting better at putting my my paintings like a thumbnail up beforehand, but I didn't do that today. I did that yesterday. So, have you had good success with Etsy? So far, so good. Yeah, I'd say so. Gosh, I've sold 8. I think it's 8 to 10 on Etsy. I do some in-person shows too, and for the in-person shows I switched to Square because that's for the card reader. So I just did an in-person show, was it last weekend? And I sold 13 paintings and a handful of prints over there. So It gets a little confusing when you've got multiple avenues for where you're selling paintings, but I think Etsy does good. They got their fees like everyone else, but it gets the job done. Gets the job done. And it was pretty easy to set up, honestly. That was probably the biggest thing for me, is having it a little easier to set up, since I wasn't really sure how it would go at first. Nice work, much success, thank you. Appreciate you guys all hanging out. Oh, thank you. I didn't see who did it, but someone just, oh, Mr. Frog sent me 4 roses. Thank you. That means a lot. That helps me out more than you guys know. Between the likes and the comments and the gifts, it all really helps. So, got a few more brushes to clean up, and then we'll be back at this again tomorrow. So, but you're not rid of me yet. Live goal achieved. Yes, it was. Appreciate you guys. So, yep. Etsy store, TikTok. I am live Sunday through Thursday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. I know it's 9 on the East Coast. I know people usually tell me it's like 7 usually on the West. Although I suppose if you're super far west, maybe in California, it might be 6, but, well. That part I'm a little less certain of, but we're on the last brush, guys, so we'll be taking off here for today momentarily, and we'll be back tomorrow. So, I'll just bid you guys a good night, and we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good evening. Bye-bye. And thank you.